Hi, this is Michael DeSillis from DeSillis' Media Newsroom. We have some news in the news updates today, talking about all kinds of things. We had a power outage starting off this morning. That was around 6:59, and this power outage did last for about an hour and a half this morning here in Washington, North Carolina. The power was off here at the apartments here. From about quarter to seven till around probably 8:30 before it came back on. They do believe somebody hit a pole out here downtown somewhere in Washington and knocked the power out. It might result in the power, at least that's what's being said. That's through the grapevine around here. But also other news, to protect your children online, there are three common apps that most traffickers use. That's Facebook, WhatsApp, and Snapchat, and Instagram. They can also use that too. And there's lots of them out there. There's apps. There's the calculator app that looks like a calculator, and you hit a button and you can see the books. You can see where they can store many files of naked children, or inappropriate stuff with children, and that's how they're able to gain access to people putting naked nudity pictures. See, what these predators do is they will lure your kids by pressuring them into, according to the cyber task force, they'll pressure them into sending them a picture, and then it will lead to an inappropriate picture and maybe a naked picture. And what they'll do is they'll say something like, well, if you don't, send me a picture, I'm going to share it with all your friends, and scare the teenager or the preteen or the young adult, in question that's being trafficked or lured. They will do that, and they'll do that just so that the person will leave them alone. And that's how they are. That's how they are trafficked, or how they are being trafficked on social media or through social media, according to the Cyber Task Force. And so what we want to do is let you know about some of these apps that are being used, like we just mentioned: WhatsApp, Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram. These are many apps that your children do use, teenagers. So beware of these apps, that there are predators trying to reach and trying to lure your kids or traffic your kids through these things. So be aware of that, folks. And always know who you're talking to, as I always said. And always have an open mind, and make sure you know, and parents, be with your children when they're online. Don't let them try to talk to people alone when they're underage. That way you know, and have a very prospectus, or have a way to monitor when they're online, to see who they're talking to through software apps that you can buy and put on their phones and tablets and computers. And because that seems to be a problem, it's becoming more and more of a problem with this going on, trafficking children and trying to lure them, and trying to get people through these apps. So we're trying to warn people about this stuff. This is coming from the National Cyber Force. So be aware of those. There's after school apps, there's calculator apps. Looks like a calculator, functions like a calculator, but has a secret button where you can store all kinds of files, and even photos and all kinds of other content, to try to hide it away from prying eyes like parents and things. So parents, be aware of these apps. And also Kick is out there too. That's still a lot of pedophiles get on there too, using Kick too as well. So be aware of these things, and there's many other apps. We just mentioned some of them, and we just want to let you know so your children can be safe online, and so parents, what's out there, to give you an idea. And anyway, if your child is acting out and their grades are slipping, it could be possibly because they've been pressured, or they're being pressured online by a sexual predator, or but it could be also other things that could be causing that too. It may not be that, but it could be one possibility. So be aware of that. If their grades slip or they're acting out, this could be because of that reason, one reason, or it could be something else going on because they got their interest somewhere else, and that's why their grades are slipping, because they're not putting it in the right place when they're doing their homework. That's what the Cyber Force Task Force says. It could be possibly assigned to that. Could be that. So anyway, this is just some of the things we wanted to tell you about. Well, it looks like around town here in Washington, it looked like it was going to storm here earlier today, but the clouds look like they broke away, and now we have sunshine. It's in the 80s and low 90s all around here up in the Carolinas, and we might get some rain possibly today. A small chance is possible. But anyway, we'll have more news. Just stay tuned. This is Michael DeSilvis telling you the news. We'll be back with more news stories. In other news, on ECU's campus, they have suspended the Greek club or the Greek chapter, Alpha chapter on ECU. That's Eastern Carolina University. They have suspended that Alpha chapter because of mistreatment and things that they were doing, and so there has been an investigation going on, and so we'll get back to that and give you more as that story develops. Keep it right here. The investigation has put together a task force, and uh, they're going to look into what has happened here with the Greek club and see what's going on there. So that's what they're doing. The chancellor has discussed a meeting about that today. It comes from the latest news that they were shut down by Capitol, was suspended in April, and the Greek club was suspended here now today on campus. The chapter has been ordered to shut down at this time because of certain things that were going on there and practices with the Greek club. So we'll keep you up to date with this developing story as it develops. I guess you heard that there was a meeting held in the Murphy Center building today to discuss about the task force that has been formed to conduct this investigation. I guess you just heard that. I don't know if you heard that or not. And what their goal is, what they want to do at ECU is on the campus there in North Carolina, is they want in Eastern North Carolina State University, they want to make Greek life better as a whole, and so they can do the proper research and methods. That's what this task force is devised to do, so that they can actually make it better and become a more viable club again, which I think is a good idea. But anyway, we'll be back. We're supposed to be discussing about the details of the police force that's going to be gathered, and they're supposed to gather all the reports and give them by September this fall of what they revealed from their investigation and all the things. And all what it really is about mainly is just to make it better for the Greek people that are there on the campus and to make the club better as a whole. That's really what it's all about. And of course, some of the people that are there on the campus, the students, some of them think it's kind of scary, but they just have to see what happens. They think that the club or chapter might be suspended indefinitely. Some they don't really know what's going to happen, so they're just trying to hold their breath, see what happens. But I think it's going to be okay. I mean, once they know, then they can form and restructure this club as just this Alpha chapter, and hopefully campus life will be a lot better for that club, and they'll have more, better structure in place. And I think that's all really what this task police force is all about, to find out all that information, the who's, the what's, the whys, and all that sort of thing. In the news, this is Michael Silva. We'll have more stories coming up in just a bit. Stay right here on the Silva's Media Newsroom. Another news story: Collins Estates, that's a trailer park that's been under construction for several months, has been overlooked, some people feel, in that area. And they feel like there's some potential hazards that have been left behind that are very dangerous for the kids that are there. There's an autistic son in question, and they're worried about him going outside and playing out there around all the debris. So some people feel like they should clean up the area and remove some of these dangers in that area where that trailer park is located. And they feel like some of the stuff has not been fully completed or finished there. And some parents are concerned about the debris being around there and how the stuff is still laying around there. That could be considerably dangerous, not just to his autistic son, but also to the other kids that are in the neighborhood there as well. Keep it right here. When the parents went to the people that own Collins Estates there in Midway area there, they said they're going to look into it, but they have not addressed the issue about the debris and about some of the buildings not being fully finished there, or the trailers there not fully being finished yet. So we'll have to see what happens there with the Collins Estates Community Facility there at Midway, in the Midway Park area. Keep it right here. We'll have more news stories coming up. They were also told that Collins Estates has been fined with code enforcement, and have been fined. As to the extent of those fines, we don't know. But that's just what was said when they went and reported it to the when they reported it. I will get more back into that. According to the management there, even though it's been circulated that they said they have been fined, but according to the manager Ben there that's in the management, she says that there has not been any fines that have been issued for that Collin Estate property as long as she's been there. She's been there for a year. They don't have any complaints on file with the estate community there on file, but if there have been any, then they would escalate them to them, is what they're saying. The officials are saying, and that's what's going on there at this time. We'll keep you up to date as the news develops, as we said. Keep it right here. They said if there was an investigation, then they would send someone out to do the investigation. So far as I know, there has not been no timeline to remove or clean up the debris that is there. But we'll keep you posted with the developing story there. They said they're doing everything they possibly can, though, with the estates, their community trailer park, to do everything they possibly can. And Oswald County, that's pretty much where that's coming from. So please, I hope that they'll get that stuff cleaned up so it won't be a danger to the kids that live in that area, and hopefully not to their autistic son who lives there, because they can't afford to move and all. And that would be good to remove all that extra debris and stuff that really shouldn't be there on the property anyway. It should not be left there at all. In the news, this is Michael DeSilva. We'll have more stories coming up.
3 people were arrested Wednesday night after being accused of killing 8 dogs by starvation in an overgrown property in Beaufort County. Kenneth W. Davis and Leanne N. Alvarez were charged with 34 counts of cruelty to animals and 6 counts of killing an animal by starvation. Lloyd N. Davis was charged.
Coming from WNCT Channel 9 on your side news.
Deputies say they found the remains of 5 dogs, with 2 of the dogs being puppies. Kenneth Davis and Leanne Alvarez were given $100,000 bonds. Lloyd Davis was given a $15,000 bond.
There you go, folks. So anyway, please continue to pray for my stepdad, Stuart Garrett, who is in the hospital right now. Just keep him in your prayers, and please keep praying for my family too. And for New Hunter Church of Christ, this is Michael DeSilva with some of the top stories today here in Washington and abroad. Some of the top stories. We'll have more news updates as they break out. Keep it right here. This is Michael DeSilva from Love FM and also from DeSilva's Media. Take care. God bless everyone. Please support us and donate. Subscribe down below, please, folks. Love you. Take care. Michael DeSilva with some of the top stories.